What? She is. She beat me up one time. I'm joking, of course. Hi everyone, I'm Scott. Welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. This Chanel de collaboration here on YouTube in which 7 of us review movies one day on each week, each on a particular day, according to whatever the theme happens to be. I do Thursday videos. I'm also known as CineRam on my personal channel. And I want to thank you for stopping by. I am wrapping up our Amy Adams theme week. Just a quick bit of business before we begin. Starting tomorrow, we have a special new surprise theme, which I think you'll find very interesting. Week after that, Philip Seymour Hoffman tribute week, and the week after that, a special requested theme. So I hope you'll tune in for that, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And also a link in the description below to our Facebook page, which is a great place to interact with us. Leave us comments and feedback, suggest new themes, like this one particular viewer did. Appreciate it very much. So, Amy Adams has quite a great reputation. She just got her Best Actress nomination for American Hustle. She got other nominations for movies like Doubt and Junebug and a few other things, which I can't quite recall right now. But yeah, she has a reputation for being the sweet, wholesome character, you know, always playing these very wholesome characters, with the exception of David O. Russell movies. She was sort of a spunky bartender in The Fighter. She might have been a supporting actress nomination for that, I forget. But in American Hustle, she's a con woman, but basically, you know, one of the good people versus, you know, gangsters and creepy FBI agents played by Bradley Cooper and what have you. I'm not the biggest fan of American Hustle. I was really excited about it, looking forward to it. But there was just stuff in there that I just didn't like about it. Particularly how Bradley Cooper, who is an FBI agent, is dumb enough not to notice that Amy Adams' character is faking her English accent. Amy Adams her character's from Boston, I think, or maybe upstate New York, but she's pretending to be an English lady in her scams with Christian Bale, and somehow Bradley Cooper doesn't notice until late in the picture. And then she drops the act, and she does her usual accent, and she's like, "What? You're not actually English?" I'm just like, dude, you didn't even notice? Come on, it was not that great of an English accent. That was all part of the character, of course. Not to say that Amy Adams isn't good in that movie, that she doesn't deserve her nomination. I've liked other David O. Russell films better. I've liked other Amy Adams films better. I will say she looks great, though. That's the thing. I certainly had a hard time taking my eyes off in that picture. But aside from those two films, you have her playing a Disney princess in Enchanted. She's this very sweet mother-to-be in Junebug. She was a nun, of course, in Doubt. You know, she plays a lot of very wholesome characters. That was not always the case, though. The movie that I'd like to talk to you about is called Cruel Intentions 2, and it was a film that came out in 2000, about 5 years before she really hit it big in Junebug with her Oscar nomination. Of course, she's been working for a while, but Cruel Intentions 2, as you may have guessed, is a sequel to Cruel Intentions, but it didn't start out that way. It actually started out as a television show. The pilot that she shot with the other actors was not picked up by the network. They looked at it and went, it's a little sleazy, a little raunchy, a little disreputable, we'd rather not. So the director, Roger Kumble, who also wrote and directed the first Cruel Intentions movie, says, okay, I'll just take it back and I'll add racier footage to the movie and sell it off as a direct-to-DVD sequel. But it's actually not. It's more like a remake or a reboot, if you will. Because this is supposed to be more like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Friday Night Lights, where they take the characters and just put them in the television medium. It wasn't actually supposed to be a sequel per se. So you have basically kind of the same setup. If you remember Cruel Intentions, and I hope you don't because it's a terrible movie, Ryan Phillippe, he is the main character. He plays a guy named Sebastian. He comes to New York City to live in this very, very wealthy estate with I think it's his father, who has married another woman, and this woman has a daughter who's played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. Her name is Catherine, I think. And they are the sort of players of the school. He is he's a sort of a con artist himself. He's scamming people. He's ruining reputations. He's basically getting, you know, sort of has a talent for blackmail, I guess you could say, as does Sarah Michelle Gellar. And so they're in sort of an informal competition. And at one point, they make a little wager that Sebastian will be unable to seduce the wholesome chaste good girl of their private school, who's played by Reese Witherspoon, and she, of course, and Ryan Phillippe were in a relationship at the time. Her character's name is Annette, and she, is espouses, waiting until marriage and all that stuff. And so Sarah Michelle Gellar, Catherine, the character, says, "I bet you can't take her virginity and then break her heart." And he's like, "Oh, I bet I can." So they make a little bet. They, I think it's if he succeeds, she agrees to sleep with him, even though they're step siblings. And if he fails, he'll give her his Jaguar Roadster or something like that. So the situation for Cruel Intentions 2 is not all that similar, but the premise is basically kind of the same. It makes me wonder exactly how it's going to work as a series, because what happens is you've got the same sort of dynamic. You've got Catherine, the scheming manipulator, who's like the queen bee of the school. You've got Sebastian, her stepbrother, who is a new arrival and is getting acclimated to the school and trying to find his own way, and however he can. And then, of course, you've got the good girl of the school, who is actually the dean's daughter. In the film, her character's name is, in the sequel, her character's name is different. What is it? Danielle, right, exactly. Not Annette, Danielle. So Danielle and Catherine and Sebastian make up this trio. However, things play out a little bit differently. Sebastian is actually trying to be a good guy and trying to turn over a new leaf and leaving his past behind, but Catherine, his stepsister, makes that very difficult for him. So Amy Adams plays Catherine. Very, very different from the usual role that she plays. She's really mean-spirited. She's always treating the staff badly. She's keen on ruining the reputations of other kids at school in order to collect power for herself. Meanwhile, Sebastian is trying to show Danielle, this good girl, this wholesome girl, that he's actually a good guy when she doesn't like his reputation, everything like that. She doesn't trust him. So is this a good movie? No, it's not really. There's all kinds of problems involving continuity errors. Just like people just like forget what happened the previous day. It's like Catherine is telling all the staff at her house, "I needed the car last night," but she actually did have the car last night, unless it wasn't just the next day, but it's supposed to be. There's supposed to be a condensed time period here, but people talk like months have happened or weeks have happened in between stuff, and that just isn't the case. The timeline really doesn't make a lot of sense. So Catherine, in addition to tormenting Sebastian, is also trying to humiliate the new girls' school, this very naive, kind of ridiculous girl whose parents are extremely wealthy, just moved there, so she's going to ruin her reputation. One of the key scenes of the movie is her ordering this girl to rub her crotch against the saddle of the horse she's riding until she has an orgasm and falls off. It's no wonder the network did not actually want to make this a television series. But as time goes on, Danielle is just like, "Look, I don't know, I think we're going too fast." And Sebastian's like, "We're not going too fast for me." And she's like, "I know, but I know your reputation. I know you've been with tons of girls, tons of people, tons of girls, and I've never been with anyone, blah, blah, blah." So why am I talking about this particular film as opposed to other Amy Adams pictures? Well, for one reason, and that is because it's superior to the original Cruel Intentions in one key way, and that is it doesn't moralize over the character's bad behavior the way the first film does. I'm going to get into some spoilers here. If you don't want to know the endings of either of these two movies, I suggest stopping the video, but I don't recommend either of these films, so please go ahead and watch and feel free to ignore the films themselves. In Cruel Intentions, Sebastian finally succeeds in sleeping with Annette. However, he falls in love with her and doesn't want to break her heart, so when he does, in order to fill the obligations of his wager, Catherine goes, "Ha ha, you were in love with her, and I'm not sleeping with you, I'm not giving what you want because you're a loser. You were very happy with her and you threw it all away just to have a night with me, you're terrible." So what happens is, due to some contrived circumstances, Annette almost gets hit by a car. Sebastian pushes her out of the way, gets hit by the car himself, dies, and then Catherine gets her comeuppance when people find out about her burn book, because she's got a burn book like in Mean Girls, and she's got a little crucifix full of cocaine that people discover and what have you. So the good guys win at the end. However, Cruel Intentions 2 is different, because when Sebastian goes to Danielle and he says, "Hey, I really want a relationship to work, I want you to know I'm a changed person, you found out about my past, the bad stuff that I did, but I'm not that guy anymore." And she says, "Do you believe in our love?" And he says, "Yes, of course I do." He says, "Well, then you're a sucker because I've been playing you along with Catherine." Apparently Danielle and Catherine were the ones to make a wager in this movie. Danielle bet Catherine that she could get Sebastian to go wholesome basically, and agree to see her for who knows how long, and not sleep with her. But in fact, she was playing them all the time. And meanwhile, while Daniel's messing around with Sebastian 10, she's going off and messing around with Catherine. They're in bed together, you know. And so at the end, when Catherine and Danielle reveal the whole plan and go, "Ha ha, Sebastian, we tricked you," and then they all have a three-way. And then Danielle and Catherine send Sebastian off to corrupt the innocent, naive girl and mess with her head, and that's the end of the movie. So basically, everyone fucks everyone else, and all the bad guys live happily ever after in the end. Now that's a movie worth supporting. You just don't see stuff like that, especially not on TV. Plus, of course, the directed DVD version of this movie, you know, the home video version is a lot sleazier. You know, it's got a lot more explicit sex, and there's a couple of girls who hop in the shower. Sebastian just tease the hell out of him until he almost has a heart attack. Yeah, it's not a reputable movie. It's not an admirable film, but it's fun. If you like seeing the bad guys win every once in a while, and you know, and get theirs over the gullible, wholesome, good-hearted people, then this is the movie for you. But I can't really recommend it. I really can't. It's not that good. But it's good to see Amy Adams in a film like this. I was thinking before I rewatched it, gee, you know, it would have been really great if Sarah Thompson, who plays Danielle, and Amy Adams had switched parts, because Sarah Thompson had a reputation at that point for playing bad girls. She was on Boston Public, the television show. She was a bad girl in that. She played that same kind of character in a couple of movies, and in this one she's playing the good girl. Whereas Amy Adams is wholesome, and she should be playing the good girl instead. Well, actually it worked out really nicely, because Sarah Thompson, of course, is pretending to be good, her character, but actually turns to bad in the end. And Amy Adams makes a really nice ice queen, you know. There are times when things aren't going her way, or plans get messed up, or someone insults her, and she's just like this. You know, you can just see the rage building in her eyes go bug out and everything like that. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's terrible. It's not good, but it's fun. So that's my review. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I hope you tune in for the videos to come. And please make sure to check out the other guys' videos on Amy Adams, because they're all for movies that are better than this one. Thanks again for watching. See you later. Bye.